This college football national championship edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer? Dog.
Howdy, Sean.
Howdy. How about those Rams? Man, I almost want to go back to Cleve T Analytics giving me shit, Ryan, in the preseason about Sam Darnold. Oh, he was trying to victory lap Sam Darnold not sucking, and I had to bite my tongue and eat it the entire regular season. Now I got to go find that because Sam Darnold does suck. Confirmed.
I mean, one of the sharpest weekends of handicapping that I've had in some time.
Ryan, you dominated. You hit your lock, dog, and tease for wild card weekend.
If you tune into the VSiN show, I even put myself in a position where I knew maybe that the Steelers weren't going to be the right side. I played totals where I didn't even feel confident in the side, and then what happens? Baker Mayfield and that Buck sloppiness screws me out of a 6-leg absolute super wild card banger of a parlay. Not only that, Sean, to get back to college, if you remember, I gave out the Riley Leonard first touchdown against Penn State. He did not score the first touchdown in the game, but he did score the first touchdown for Notre Dame. So I got some credit on that one as well. Heater has been engaged, Sean. I will say, I didn't tell you this, but I stopped by the Silverton on the way back to the Airbnb. I'm back in LA now, but last night, and the actual intent was not just to put a big ass bet on Jalen McMillan to score a touchdown, which he did not. It was also to put a little bit of a parlay on Commanders Rams money line. I don't want to call it a hedge. I want to call it a new position. So I didn't walk away from the VSiN tail of the tape unscathed. I just want everyone to know. I did.
Wow, Ryan admitting on air of hedging.
Well, it was a 4-1. It was a 4-1 position where I was putting the Rams back in it because I felt very confident about that. So call it a two-way play. Call it a hedge. Walked away with 1/4 of the money I would have. But still, Baker, go fuck yourself.
Vikings Kyle in the chat, feeling for you, Viking Kyle. What a weird season for the Vikings, right? You're 14-4. You have 4 losses to 2 teams, both good teams. What do you do here? Now, I guess for them it's an easy fix. And I think if you're a Vikings fan, I'm sure everyone had the similar thought of like, all right, well, this sucks getting your ass kicked in the wild card round, but the plus side is at least you don't have to pay Sam Darnold, because there was a world if Sam Darnold wins a couple playoff games, you just have to pay him, right?
The irony that the quarterback of the future could be Daniel Jones, who effectively did the opposite of Sam Darnold and actually played well in the playoff game, at least one of the playoff games.
I love how Joe Buck was going, and Daniel Jones might be the bridge quarterback. Bridge to nowhere. We need a break. Remember that? I think it was a Sarah Palin thing.
Yep.
The bridge to nowhere.
She can see Russia. Bring back
simpler
just dumb politicians. But now the evil dumb politicians aren't as fun.
No. Yeah. No, Sarah Palin was great. Hey, let it ride, Jaddy May. So Rams Eagles, that line's already opening up around 6.5. So that closes out the divisional round playoff game. Bunch of good games. And I noticed already over on DK promo code SGP that now the Bills are home dog, which to me is a little bit crazy. I forget who I was texting with, but he said they already got a tease in with the Ravens up to 7.5 when they were favored. So that's going to be interesting because you probably could have got both sides of that.
A lot of sharp teasers grabbing both sides of that Bills Ravens game and putting it in with other stuff, I'm sure.
And prop wise, Cooper Kupp, man, he had one big play. That was it. Hit the Jalen Naylor stuff. We were both on Sam Darnold interception. The Sam Darnold interception ladder almost came through. I don't know if you saw that. Like, I mean, the game was kind of done, but he had that Rams defensive back went right through his hands. So he even messed up. What'd you say?
I thought that was going to come home. The way the game flow was, the way the game was going, that was coming home. It felt like we were going to. I thought 3 interceptions were in play. The way the first half went.
Yeah, no, he looked cooked, and yeah, it was. It just, yeah, to your point, it felt like he was gonna. Yeah, I felt silly only having 2 interceptions there. So. We are going to be joined by Colby here in just a second. Talk college football national championship. Oh, I guess we got to talk about this real quick. Well, we'll talk about it when we bring on Colby. A little more potential touting going for old Sean Green. But you know who deserves some touting, Ryan? One Mr. Tom Stark, who won the free roll football contest 2024. Congrats, Tom. Dominated the field. I think you won by 5 points. So, Tom, hit us up to claim your prize. Podcast at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. I already emailed you, so let's get you paid. Congrats, Ryan. We need to do what Derek does and have like a jacket ceremony with a much smaller check. Maybe we can talk to Derek and get one of his check guys. Although I feel like our prize money, which is pretty good, $2,500, $3,500 if he's a Patreon member. We'll see if he gets that bonus. That was a good reason to join the Patreon.
I have been asked by a lot of people why don't we do a Survivor contest? So yeah, 2025. Maybe we figure out a way to go hand in hand with the Circus Survivor and do something. Do a little SGP Survivor, maybe. I think what it is, Sean, people like the simplicity. They know that if they enter a picks contest, they're going to forget to make their picks for a week. But the Survivor is easy. You just got to fire.
Survivor's harder to mess up. Plus, I mean, if you're like me and Ryan, where you have a whole checklist of stuff you have to do every week, these picks full, the Circa Million, Circa Survivor, there is something nice to, I'm eliminated from Survivor. That's one less thing I have to fill out every NFL week. But we got some great playoff games coming up. We're going to break all those down. And before we bring on Colby Dant, aka Pick Dundee, shout out to DraftKings playoffs. We are talking playoffs. You bet we are. Getting the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And great place to bet the touchdowns. First, any and many, the 2 touchdown, the first touchdown, the anytime touchdown. They also have them for college, Ryan. I saw Riley Leonard over on DraftKings, plus 115 anytime touchdown over on DraftKings. If you believe in the Irish, it's hard to imagine they don't get it done without a Riley Leonard touchdown. And then even if you're on Ohio State, I think there's a good case to be made that maybe you like Riley Leonard anytime touchdown. We're going to be giving out some plays for first touchdown later on in the episode. But reminder, new customers can get bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms of responsible gaming measures, see dkng.co/audio. Joining us on the line from the college experience, you know him, you love him, Colby Dant, aka Pick Dundee. What's happening, Colby?
What's up, fellas? I see the NFL committee got it wrong. 5 out of 6 games, blowouts, trash games, and I didn't. That's just what the local grocery store people are saying.
Oh wow, you didn't watch?
No, I'm holding on strong.
He was too busy getting his. He was too busy getting his ass kicked in SWAC basketball. Meanwhile, he could have just been a printing press, Colby, on fading Sam Darnold. Just get you the Sam Darnold interception props. You don't have to watch. And it wasn't pretty for Sam Darnold tonight. But what were you going to say, Colby?
Well, no, it's just it's a classic New York Jet quarterback thing. I would have faded them if forced to. I definitely would have faded that. But Vikings. You asked what the Vikings can do. They can cut the roof off the building. They had 4 Super Bowl appearances prior to that. So
that would be great. They have that guy who dresses up as a Viking. He rides that 4-wheeler. I think that would be amazing content. Send that guy up there with a nice, like a roto hammer, a nice circular saw, and just have him go to town up there, cut a giant hole in the roof. That would be amazing. And reminder, new listeners to the podcast may not recall 2017 magical season for the Philadelphia Eagles. I was visiting Minnesota earlier in the season where the Super Bowl ended up being played. I had a feeling it would be a good run for the Eagles. So they were doing this charity thing for this Eagles fan who had cancer, Dutch the Destroyer. I took one of his bracelets and I hid it in the pirate ship outside of the stadium as a way to ensure that Nick Foles and the Patriots would go down. So just smart play by me.
I can't believe you risked your life. You've seen the old Metro Dome. Remember when that crashed when there's too much snow? We've seen the fucking bridges. Those bridges going into Minneapolis. Remember they randomly went down one time with all the people on it. Any structure there, I'd active on the case with all the structures there. So there's a lot of reason to play outdoors there in Minneapolis.
Big news, kind of college football-y. Our boy Deion Sanders is supposedly getting interviewed by Jerry Jones. Supposedly he's a top candidate, according to some news stories, in August. I said, now this is when the Cowboys had, Ryan, what was the Cowboys win total? Like 9.5?
It was pretty high. Yeah, it was. They were projected to be I had a bet that actually canceled because the Cowboys didn't make the playoffs. I bet that they weren't going to win a playoff game, but I didn't read the fine print and they had to make the playoffs.
Oh, what?
I know.
That's bullshit.
Exactly. I'm not going to say where I placed that wager. But yeah, no, I would say that their make playoff price was like minus 130, something like that.
Yeah. So, and sure, maybe people thought Mike McCarthy would get fired, but I called my shot. I said they're going to bring Deion in there. I'm sure they're working out now how they can trade up and get Shedeur because that is part of the package deal. Shedeur Sanders will be on the Cowboys. Deion Sanders will be the head coach. Like those both things have to happen together. And I called it in August. And this guy was like, "You're an idiot. It's never going to happen." He goes to me, he goes, "Deion said he likes coaching college. He doesn't plan on going anywhere." I'm like, dude, every coach says that, especially in college sports. Every coach says, "Oh, I love it here. I love it here," until they get a better deal and then they leave. Right, Colby?
I mean, Deion's an interesting one though, because he has said it a little more than your average coach, I would say. Like Matt Campbell has not really hinted at that, Marcus Freeman hasn't really hinted at. Deion's kind of like doubled down or tripled down on like that. So it would be surprising. I mean, in one way it would be surprising, in another way it wouldn't. But I don't know why he's gone out of his way so many times prior to obviously the Cowboys getting rid of McCarthy, but he had gone out of it on that documentary series that they had a couple times, basically saying, "I'm not leaving. I don't want to coach in the pros, but money changes everything."
Money talks. Yeah. No, you say that until the opportunity presents itself. I mean,
he's got a house there too, I think. So it would make a lot of sense.
No state income taxes. And everyone knows professional football, top of the mountain. If you're a coach, you want to I honestly, like, college football coaches, the only ones that are like satisfied being a college football coach for the most part are guys who either had the opportunity to get up to the pros and then it didn't work out, or guys who realized they never have a shot at the pros, right? Like,
no, some like Bob Stoops turned down the NFL multiple times.
Okay.
There's some, but yeah,
it's rare, I guess.
Yeah.
I think once you saw a guy like I do think what happened to, like, say, a Bobby Petrino, even a Nick Saban, it definitely has to weigh on other coaches' minds when deciding to go from a, like, where you're effectively a god, maybe if not, you're very good at your profession, to just being another guy and then being fired. Obviously, there's money. But Deion's different. I agree with you. He's talked a different talk, but he's also talked about this particular job before. So both things can be true. And I think if you want to, if there's one thing people can't criticize Deion for, is he has just masterclass in getting his kid to the best possible situation, which is him coaching him. That's the sneaky part of this. It's like he's going to insulate and protect his son at the fucking professional level. Deion's the man.
Sons plural, right? Because they'll draft Shiloh then, right?
Sure, of course.
He said both sons.
Yeah.
It's like the ball. He's like Lonzo Ball with the sweet chain. You gotta respect him, looking out for his kids. And I don't know
who has better sons, the Lonzo or Deion.
I'll go Deion.
I mean, yeah. Well, Lonzo Ball's not bad though. I mean, they've also had a bunch of weird injuries, partially because of the shoes their dad invented that they were forcing them to wear. And shout out to Sharp Shark over there. Hey guys, if the Irish plan on mixing a little more fire zone blitz in this matchup, do you like the Dallas Stars -109 at Toronto?
All right,
you never fade the Leafs at home, Sharp Shark. I don't know. I got to dig in deeper, but the hockey gambling guys have been coming at us. They're sending a Sharp Shark over here to troll our chat. It's great. I like a little chat interaction, and he's a legend in the Discord.
I'll say
streets.
this though. I think college coaches nowadays, way more than say 20 years ago, would go pro just because you have an off season. I can't blame them. Like, who wants to just every day be recruiting your team? You know what I mean? Like, that just seems exhausting. So in that way, like, I mentioned Stoops. I think 15 years ago, you'd have a lot of other coaches that would prefer to stay in college than today.
Colby, we got D Bettis in the chat. He's saying he claims week 0, he told you the college experience that Ohio State was winning it all, and that you guys laughed at them. Where were we at with Ohio State? I don't think any of us had them winning it all, but they've certainly looked really good post Michigan.
I definitely had them as one of the teams that could win it all, but I mean,
that's a long list for you though.
No, I think I had them as like one of 5 teams that I would place a wager on. I think I picked Oregon, but I think the second team was Georgia and the third was Ohio State, if I recall correctly. But he's probably referring to Patty C being a Michigan fan and Patty C saying, "Hey, Ohio State's ass." So that could be that.
So for those who are wondering how far we had these teams going, I somehow had Notre Dame missing the playoff, but Ohio State made it to the semifinal in my version and lost to Virginia Tech. So good on me. Got them all the way to the. By the way,
I did have Utah playing LSU for the national championship, and I forgot I already shredded the LSU ticket because I had LSU winning. I thought it was their year. I did have Ohio State as the number 2 seed in the college football playoff. So almost we all had Ohio State as the number 2 seed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not that crazy of a fade, but I couldn't help, Kramer. I don't know if you had audio on in the Penn State Notre Dame game when they referenced Tyler Warren was a Virginia Tech commit that transferred because
Ryan, they
fired Justin Fuente. That's great. That's great content right there. You could have had a Heisman finalist, but you fired your boy Fuente.
This is a great troll job by you. Fuente was great at bringing in big time recruits. and then they would just die and transfer out. So that does not faze me one bit. And I've already made my prediction on Warren. He's a complete roid head, and he does not have good hands. My prediction is at the next level, he will not have good hands, and that will hold him back.
Colby, where's Kramer getting this bad hands thing on Tyler Warren? Am I missing something? I watched it. I don't. There's probably a couple, I wasn't breaking down film on Tyler Warren, but every time I was watching Penn State, which was almost every game this season, the guy seemed like he had a wide catch radius, good soft hands. Here's my scouting report. I just pulled open my scouting notebook. Here's what it says: absolute monster in the weight room, physical freak, can run like a moose is what I put here, and then hands like feet. So that's the book. Where's that coming from?
I've seen him drop way too many. I think it's the weakest part of his game. And
no eye metrics, no cock size, nothing like that.
I will say there is something about the ride height of his helmet or neck shoulder pad situation that does make me wonder if he's going to have injury issues at the next level.
Okay, so I couldn't find the complete season, but through 8 games, Tyler Warren had 62 targets and 1 drop.
Okay. Yeah, dude, he was 7th in Heisman finalist. So maybe that was probably, you know what it is, probably Coach Pry when he realized he couldn't keep him when he came over. He's probably like, yeah, the guy doesn't have hands anyway. Right? That's
where Ryan's Tyler Warren hate's coming from.
But D Bettis sounded a lot like Ryan Day after we just they disrespected us. No one thought we could get here. I'm like, no, everyone thought you could get there. You have the most expensive roster in college football. This is like the New York Yankees, complaining about, oh, they doubted us. They doubted us forever. We couldn't get anybody.
I mean, Ohio State, the reality is by losing to Michigan again this year, you've created the most entertaining outcome in the history of sports. Your entire fan base hates this coach. There are entire message boards dedicated to tracking his beard color because it's obviously not natural. And if he
what wins, are you talking about, Ryan?
If he wins one more game, you guys are stuck with him with a ridiculous contract that's going to involve a record buyout. So I don't know what to think here. Don't know what to think. Poor Ohio State fans, I guess.
Colby, keep doing your Ryan Day impression. Just because this. I mean, the Hulk Hogan shoe polish beard for any of the wrestling fans out there. It looks like the Ryan Day beard, right? Am I crazy?
Is that what
like,
it is? Is he doing
comically dark?
I was joking that it would be funny if I just I was actually joking with my oldest daughter that it would be funny if I just dyed my beard jet black. I was explaining that there was this coach that had this very strangely colored beard, and I showed it to her, and I was like, "What if I dyed my beard jet black?" And she goes, "Did you check with mommy?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." That's the funniest part. I wouldn't tell her. So maybe I'll if Ryan Day wins, I'll dress up as.
There's
Ryan
some
Day.
versions where Hulk had like the blonde Fu Manchu over it, and I could see if anyone's going to do that, maybe Ryan Day ends up with that look.
Well, that's the best part about all this, right? Is you get, he calls out Lou Holtz randomly. Some obscure podcast a year ago. and
we have
now
Lou Holtz's response, right? Colby?
Yeah, we do. We have it right here.
I don't get brain man cold, but they're counting down 765.
What's that again, Lou?
Well, I don't get brain man cold, but they're counting down 765.
But Ryan Day called you out as a coach, as a program. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I don't get brain man cold, but they're counting.
If you ever have the privilege of meeting Colby in person and he happens to have his laptop, have him fire up his Lou Holtz folder for you. I mean, you want to talk about the Library of Congress or these places that keep these great materials. Colby's laptop needs to be protected at all costs.
I mean, look, there's always when he was on College Game Day, there was a hurricane going on in that studio, nonstop of saliva to all the people. What was it? Desmond Howard, Mark May, Reese Davis. all those people. So yeah, hit me up on that.
Oh man, why I wasn't looking at the chat. Why didn't you guys tell me there's someone in here telling us we're all super gay?
Well, we're talking cock size of Tyler Warren, I think. So took a.
He told me my glasses look fabulous. Thank you for the compliment. I was hoping to impress someone.
We need to reach out to Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan's estate, and just have them turn over Colby's archive of Crocodile Dundee gifts, and because that hard drive, right? I feel like every time Ryan helped clean up Colby's computer, it was all just like saving too many Crocodile Dundee videos, or every single possible college basketball matchup graphic. Colby's laptop's insane.
Yeah, it's running at high capacity right now. It's down to one engine, but don't worry about it. We'll make it through.
You ever seen that movie where Denzel plays the blind guy who's memorized the Bible or has the one
Book of Eli?
The Book of Eli. When they get to the end and they start reprinting it, that's what someone needs to do with your computer. We need to transcribe that bitch before it dies. Anyway,
that's good.
Happy college football.
Happy college football right now over on DraftKings. Promo code SGP. It looks like Ohio State favored by 8.5. Colby, we'll start with you. What do you like in this game? How do you see it shaking out? Total sitting at 45.5. What are we doing here? I mean, to me, it's like this. Ohio State has looked obviously so awesome since they lost to Michigan. And even that Oregon game that they lost, they had a shot to the very end. So it's easy to make a case for them as the best team in college football. But hey, it's one game. Notre Dame has a bunch of time to prepare, and they've been good about in these must-win games in the college football playoff, going for it, taking shots, running fakes, being aggressive on fourth down. What's your handle on this matchup?
My heart is completely with Notre Dame, but I think the big thing is they are very injured, very, very injured. Their top corner, that was the first. That's their backup too. Like he started to start the season. Their starting left tackle is out for the year, so now their backup is out for the season. Well, for one game, the season. So you're basically going to get a third string, and the backup that was playing well was a freshman. So you're going deep down the roster here, and then they lost one of their best defensive linemen, the Indiana game, and even Bo Collins, their starting wide receiver, it was a Clemson transfer, is questionable. So I mean, they took some major hits. I mean, even Riley Leonard was dinged up a little bit in that game. I just think, as much as I want Notre Dame to win this game, I think it would be great. I think more teams will potentially want to be independent, but I just think you that against that D line, which I think is one of the best, if not the best D line in football, I just don't know that you're asking a lot for your third string left tackle to go up, and their guard got injured too, guys. Their guard got injured in the game too. So it's like, I just think you have to take Ohio State. As I hope I'm wrong in a way, because for the sport's sake, like I think it would be great if Notre Dame won a national championship, but I just think you're asking too much. You're asking too much with all these injuries. I mean, half the guys injured are like NFL players. So it's like, this isn't like a bum. They're all NFL players that are severely injured. Now, I guess you could say, well, Notre Dame is always really good on the offensive line. They recruit that position really well. So for one
they've
game,
done a good job all season. I feel like filling in that. And Marcus Freeman, I like what I've seen out of him. I like the way he's handled these big moments. Everyone's trying to, build a certain narrative, and he's keeping it, what matters, football. Kramer, what's your handle on this Notre Dame Ohio State game?
I mean, I think if you're looking at the coaching matchup, it'd be hard to not take Freeman. Yeah. Obviously you like the roster on Ohio State. There's something crafty about Riley Leonard and this Notre Dame team, because if you look at the box scores and some of the numbers, it's not very impressive. You wonder if the Georgia game might be what this game will look like with the Ohio State defensive line. And my initial reaction when the game got when the spread dropped and it was 8.5, 9, I thought for sure I would be on Notre Dame.
The 9.5 opened at 9.5.
The more that I've studied the game, I think we're going to get the most hilarious outcome to this college football season, which is Ryan Day will be a national champion. Now, as far as the spread, I mean, it's a big number, but in some ways it feels like it's just chum in the water. Like, obviously, why is it this big? Well, I think because this game can get out of hand pretty quickly. And I think the problem is Notre Dame doesn't have firepower to come back.
Now you should mention that these two teams played a home and home over the past 2 years. So this is Marcus Freeman's third time that he's 0-2, but last season they probably should have won. They had 10 men on the field the final 2 plays of the game, which is how they lost the game. But
shout out to James Franklin on that game-winning field goal, having 9 guys out there. Did you see that?
I did.
And they weren't even up on the line. They were like playing for a fake field goal for the game-winning field goal. Like, God, that guy. You wanted to, and he did just enough that like you can't fire James Franklin this year after getting to the Final Four. But he probably still deserves to be. But I interrupted, Colby. What did you find from the matchups? Do you think Marcus Freeman picked up anything in these past 2 games? Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it to me, if you study what Ohio State struggled at, Michigan was able to beat them. Ironically, Notre Dame's kind of built like Michigan. Like they've really good offensive line, 2 good running backs, and a great defense and good special teams. And Michigan has had that the past couple of years and they've been the tougher team against Ohio State. So in that regard, I do think like they can, take them, like I think their offense can struggle against Notre Dame. I think they're going to look at the game plan that Texas had, double Jeremiah Smith and make the other guys beat you. But I just don't think they can score. And then like you talk about the offensive line's injuries, how Riley Leonard's not going to be able to get those receivers. The only way they got that touchdown against Penn State is both defensive backs slipped on that play, that like 60-yard touchdown. That was not him beating the coverage. That they just slipped, and I just don't think that's going to happen against Ohio State. But that's the only angle I can build myself on. Like Notre Dame is a lot like that Michigan team. They really are. They don't really beat themselves that much on offense, and they have a physical run game with a running back that's an absolute beast, even though he is dinged up too. That's another thing. Is Jeremiah Love's not 100%. He's an awesome player. He's going to be good in the NFL, I think, but he's not 100% too. So I think you got to take.
I mean, I'm worried it's going to be like the 2013 BCS national championship where I remember where I was and my wife's asking me, "Hey, what do you like?" I'm like, "You got to take Notre Dame getting 10 points against this Alabama team," and then Alabama just destroyed them 42-14. It was a bloodbath. Man, because I would love to see Ohio State lose, but to Ryan's point, like it does feel like the funniest thing is going to happen where Ryan Day is going to win a national championship, and then Ohio State fans are never going to be able to get rid of Ryan Day. Colby, what about the fact that Notre Dame's defense held Penn State's receivers to 0 receptions in that game? Obviously, they have Tyler Warren. And what do you make of their defense there? Are they going to be able to slow down these Ohio State receivers at all?
No, I don't think so, because Penn State's wideouts, for whatever reason, Julian Fleming was at Ohio State last year and was pretty good, but at Penn State he sucks. And like Franklin, for some reason, the wide receiver position is a glaring weakness every single year, ever since Jahan Dotson. So I think that's more about Penn State's problems, as in like it's been an issue for them all year. Whereas like Ohio State's receivers are all just studs. You know what I mean? Like I don't think, I think that is the smartest approach though, to stay in this game to me, is kind of do what Texas did, put multiple guys on Jeremiah Smith, see if Egbuka will beat you. I still think he probably will because he's very good, but I think that gives you your best shot at winning the game. And I will say this: Will Howard is known to throw some turnovers. He's known to throw some turnovers. So, maybe there's some pick sixes or something, some opportunities for that. But I just can't. There's too many injuries. But you know,
Kramer, do you think? I mean, is there a chance? Because I I want to take Notre Dame, but I don't feel like I like them to win outright. So anytime in a situation like this where I take the dog, but I can't see them winning outright, I feel like that's a bad play. Is there any chance they backdoor this? We get a 24-20 type game, or is it just Ohio State's going to roll?
I mean, that Texas game kind of had, the way it ended, it put a stamp on it, but it had that feeling the entire time that eventually there was going to be this like snap of the rope, and that was going to be that. And I think the issue, at least with Texas, you can see the playmakers and their ability to strike quickly. I don't know if Notre Dame is going to offer that up. And like I said, I think I came into this very badly, wanting to take Notre Dame, being impressed with Freeman. Yeah. But I'm not gonna. I think I'm just gonna be a donkey, lay the points, and enjoy the. I think the biggest thing here was we're gonna see Ohio State's defense dominate. I don't see how the Notre Dame's receivers do anything. Maybe Love breaks a long one. Leonard, I feel like, is going to have a shitload of carries. So if you can find a carries market like that feels very obvious.
Yeah, no, we're going to give out some props here in a second. I'm with you, Kramer. I wanted to play Riley Leonard rushing attempts. I still like his yards. DK has his yards at 40 at plus 100. Just because I think he's going to get like 15, 16, 17, like whatever they put his attempts at. I probably like that better than the yards. But I think he's going to have to scramble a ton. And I think if you're Ohio State, you're fine letting him scramble a little bit. You're just not going to let him do anything else. And they don't have a traditional running game with the running backs going. Faison, I think, is fun. I think he's fun, and we'll talk first touchdown. But, consensus play, Ohio State laying the 8.5. What about the total right now over on DK? Let's see. What did I say?
Real quick, the spread. If you're interested in the bet splits, DK is pretty split down the middle. I mean, has a bet split profile of being a little bit pros versus Joes, where the Joes are on Notre Dame. So there also is an element of public dog having fleas here. I will say though, over at Circa, Notre Dame is the more popular side for bets and handle. So if we assume there's some sharp activity going on there, but it does seem like Notre Dame is going to end up with more of the bets and potentially less of the handle.
Can we talk about another element? This is at that filthy Georgia Dome there in Atlanta, or whatever they're calling it now, Mercedes-Benz. I think the Dome favors Ohio State. Ohio State speed. I think that even favors Ohio State. You like, if you're Notre Dame, you want this outdoors. You want this in wind, rain, grass. So I even think every little angle of this game favors Ohio State. And as far as the total, I think the under is still the play. Now I know that I think we were on the under or I was at least on the under in the Notre Dame Penn State game. The only way this thing hits to me is if Ohio State blows them out. I just can't see a world where Notre Dame scores more than 21 points. So like, I don't even think they're going to get to that, but I'm saying like best case scenario, I think 21, maybe 24 for Notre Dame.
Yeah. I think I like the chat's conspiracy brain about basically like they haven't had a close national championship in a while. They need one. I still don't see it. I'm with you. I think 28-14 is how I'm going to call it officially for the college football national championship. Give me Ohio State. Kramer, what's your give us your final score, then we'll talk a little props, first touchdown, underdog entry, final score, total. What are you doing?
I mean, honestly, I think the score we just saw, 28-14, that feels about right. And to Colby's point, if it gets over, it's because Ohio State's putting it up.
Colby, final score. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll go somewhere in that. Give me like a 27-10 final.
Ooh, okay. 27-10. Kramer and I 28-14. Both of us having wins here. Actually, by Sean, double digits.
Sean, make mine 31-7.
Oh wow, even bigger blowout, 31-7. All right.
I want to be able to. I was looking at some alt numbers. I think plus
Yeah.
320 for minus 20.5.
You know what though? You're right. Because Ohio State's getting in the 30s every game. I feel like with this offense right now. So give me 35-7.
Oh, nice. So Colby,
Yeah.
at what point in the process will you switch your pick to Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, Kramer.
I want them to
know.
win so bad. But I can't take them. Like I can't. Like what? Let me ask you this: what position is Notre Dame better than Ohio State in?
They're not.
Yeah. No, and the O-line injuries are what do it. Or what's the tipping point to me? And Colby is showing tremendous restraint, Ryan, because you can tell he would love for Ohio State to get their ass kicked here. But unlike the TCU national championship, where we all convinced ourselves TCU was gonna win, let's go TCU, and they got completely destroyed. We are doing the sensible thing and taking the much better team here. So, good job, Colby. I'm with you. Ohio State rolls, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a bummer that all these guys are injured, man. Because I actually think if everyone was healthy, it might be a decent game.
Season's too long. Got to shorten the season.
What about these kids' studies? Hey, we're going to talk props here in just a second. Before we do, big news. SGPN has partnered up with America's ultimate social casino, Stake.us. Stake.us. Free-to-play social casino available in most states, including California, Texas, Georgia. I know those states are always like, hey, we want to get down on some action. Now you can with the new social casino, Stake.us. They got a ton of games, including Plinko. Plinko's super fun. I mentioned in our like official Slack here that Stake.us is a new sponsor, and Moonoff goes, "Is that the one with Plinko?" So Moonoff's already been on. Have been on maybe you will run into Moonoff on Stake.us. Again, it's a social casino. You never know who you're going to bump into. All your favorite games are there. They even have live dealers. Use the promo code SGPN at sign up, and you'll get $250,000 in gold coins, which can be used for the free-to-play games, and $25 stake cash, which can be played with and redeemed for real cash. Stake.us, promo code SGPN. That's Stake.us, promo code SGPN. And of course, we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Ryan, both we did the Underdog playoff best ball drafts. And if you missed them, don't worry. They run a whole other tournament for the divisional round as well. Both teams of mine advanced. Ooh. And then I think one of yours did, because I think in the one draft you were one, I was two.
Oh wow, collusion.
That one, my team's alive. My team that my team where I destroyed the rest of the field. That was number one. Unfortunately, it's a dead team moving on, as I don't have a quarterback. I had Baker and Justin Herbert, so I assume that's completely cooked, right?
That's not good. That's not good. Although, my let's see, two. Looks like wow. Okay, I came in second or in third in the one with you. I did not advance.
Yeah, but in the one you did advance.
Oh, you're right. You were second. I was first.
Yes.
Oh,
so man. You're advancing as well, right?
It's CJ Stroud. Remember when you were making fun of me with those CJ Stroud teams?
I was. I still think he sucks. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Get the 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Ryan, I was laughing when I was doing the Stake.us read, and there was the live dealer mention as we knew a guy who was he was on a local site, through a local bookie that had access to live dealers, and apparently his bookie gave him a warning that he was he was harassing the live dealers. So don't harass the live dealers, chat and audience. They're not there to be ogled. They're there to, spin roulette wheels and turn over blackjack cards. Some of them are attractive, but don't hassle the dealers, or you'll get whacked.
Sean, I'm also at real quick underdog update. I know people like when we roster, but I am advancing a team with Mahomes, only quarterback.
Yes. So am I.
Yeah. Nice work.
Thank you, Ryan. Hey, let's talk props. Colby, what's one prop you like here?
Well, I think I just talked to me while we were doing that read. I found another one that I liked, and that was I think the Buckeyes score more than 3 touchdowns, 3.5 touchdowns. So that's at plus 100. So give me Ohio State. Like I said, I think they're going to get to 35 points. I just projected. So that'd be 5 touchdowns right there. If my math is correct, check that always. But yeah, I just think, 3.5 touchdowns. They've been on a roll ever since that Michigan game. So I'll take that right there.
Kramer, what's a prop you like?
So the prop is 3.5 touchdowns. How do they not get that? Colby?
Yeah, field goals, but I don't think. I mean, they're going to get that.
I mean,
do you like that, or what's their team total?
I saw it earlier. Hang on, let me.
Because that's always something you would want to compare, because you wouldn't want to get jobbed if they did have 30 points with 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals.
Well, their kicking situation hasn't been the greatest all year, so I don't know, man. Where is this?
That's my favorite thing about college. The kickers are just a different level. They've gotten better, but they're just not good. And it's the best part about college football. Yeah, no, Sean, the first prop I would put on the sheet is the alt number, minus 20.5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Plus 320. I know it's not a player prop, but it just feels like we should ladder Ohio State in this one.
Yeah.
Colby,
I hope it's
as well.
Yeah, I hope it's good, but
minus 165 if you want to go halftime, full time.
What is the halftime, full time price?
If you wanted to just take Ohio State in a boat race, minus 165 halftime, full time price. So
yeah, no, I can see that.
Pretty heavy.
I'm gonna just go like I mentioned it earlier, but Leonard 40 plus rush yards.
By the way, that number's 27.5.
Team total.
Total.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I would yeah, because wouldn't you be better off taking the over 27.5 team total? Because if it's priced similarly, or what's the difference on the price, Colby?
That was minus 110.
Yeah.
So plus 100 to minus 110. Yeah.
Take the 27.5.
I think yeah, I think that hits too.
So yeah, I'm taking the Riley Leonard over rushing yards. I think there's a number of ways he gets this. If they do somehow get their offense going, he's running. If they do get behind a ton, Ohio State's just going to sit back in man coverage. Hey, you want to run, get some easy chunk plays with your quarterback who's going to get whacked. Yeah, I think he just easily gets some 40 because of the volume. Colby, what's another prop you like?
I will. I like this one here. No, actually, I guess since I just predicted 35-7, that wouldn't work. But let's go with the receiving total on Emeka Egbuka. Now, I'm assuming that they're going to see what Texas did. Texas actually did a great job bottling up Jeremiah Smith, who was probably the best receiver in the nation. 3 yards receiving. Egbuka total is at 60. So I think Egbuka will be the play to, I think they're going to do this. They're going to copy what Texas did, I think, to get Jeremiah Smith out of the game. Egbuka is going to have to beat them. And I think he will, because like I said, Notre Dame's starting corner is out for the year, their best corner. So you're looking at, your third corner essentially going up against a guy that's going to be a pretty good receiver in the NFL. So I'll take my chances there.
So you taking his over receiving yards?
Yeah.
Let me play on that one.
Okay.
Because go ahead.
My instinct was almost the opposite, real quick, just because I thought hey, Jeremiah Smith had only, what did he have, 4 yards or something like that?
But they like triple teamed him.
Yeah, but I think they're just Ohio State's going to go out of their way to like draw stuff up, get him involved early and often. You know how receivers are. If they don't get the ball, they're whining, and they're going to get him involved. And Igboku is going to be the guy that's kind of get left out. But what was your handle on it, Ryan?
Well, I was going to say if you like that angle, all right. So because you would argue that Texas stayed in the game because of that strategy. I do think it in some regard worked well enough. Ibuka 18-1 to be the offensive MVP in the game. Now, if you're right, and he has that, I mean, he had a 3 touchdown game this season against Iowa. He's not getting a ton of catches in some of these games, but he's had a 10 catch game. If he has one of these games where he stands up a little bit, maybe it needs a 2 touchdown effort, but I mean, his anytime is right there at even money. His 2 touchdown price is much worse than 18-1. And essentially if they win the game, you look at the history of this award, it's not guaranteed to be the quarterback. In fact, it's often not the quarterback. I know some receivers have won it in the past, like Devonta Smith. I think Blake Corum might have won it last year for the Michigan Wolverines. So yeah, I would throw Ibuka 18-1 to be the most outstanding. I mean, you can almost throw.
I think it was Donovan Edwards last year, right?
Was it?
I don't know. I know he had 2 huge runs in that game. But yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna pile on what Kramer did, and add on with a different MVP offensive for Ohio State. I'm gonna go Judkins 18-1. I mean, look at this is not from even like some crazy analysis. Let's just go to DraftKings promo code SGP and look at the touchdown scores. Judkins his anytime is -130. His 2 TDs are +450. If Judkins gets 2 TDs at +450, damn near, I think he's going to be in the mix for offensive MVP at 16-1. Like, if you like Judkins 2 touchdowns at +450, which he's second lowest price for touchdowns, why would he not be in the mix for 16-1 offensive MVP? I get it. Like, Will Howard's the favorite. It's a quarterback, but I think if it's a little split up, if Judkins does get those 2 touchdowns, I think they're gonna, and also too, if they're playing with a lead, he's gonna get a shit ton of yards. So I think he's gonna be able to pad his stats. And they might not need to throw a ton. Like, if you like the blowout script, I guess there's a way it gets done with the passing, but I almost think if they're playing with the lead, they're gonna be running Judkins more. Colby, what's your take on that handicap?
Yeah, I mean, one edge I think they could have, besides both those running backs just being awesome, is the screen game. You saw him break a big one in the last game, and that's another angle to that play that I do think getting those running backs out there, especially if they go with that same approach that Texas did and take away Jeremiah Smith, it's part of the reason why I think we should consider. And when I say consider, I will go in on Will Howard over 300 passing yards at +330. He threw for 289 against Texas, right? 289. But the other 2 games over 300 in the playoffs there. So I think that right there, 11-yard difference, just you're right there. You're knocking on the door. And another thing is, I don't know if Notre Dame's going to be able, like the real thing I circle in this game is time of possession. I don't think Notre Dame is going to be able to move the ball much. So I think Ohio State is going to wear down this team. So I'm going to take a shot on over 300 there. If you're right and Jeremiah Smith has a big day, then it's great. If not, I look for the screen game and a couple of those wideouts that are so talented to get in on the action.
History of the award: Blake Corum, Stetson Bennett, back-to-back years, Devonta Smith for Alabama, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Deshaun Watson, OJ Howard, Zeke Elliott. Not going back any further.
That's a nice mix.
So a bit of a long shot for it to be a receiver, but it does seem like in this game, like to your point, look at all of the Ohio State 2 touchdown prices. Most of them are not equivalent to what you would get in the MVP. And I mean, perhaps there is probably, if Howard goes 3 touchdowns or more, he's probably getting it. So you're threading a little bit of a needle there, and maybe a same game parlay where you go under. I like Colby's take on the 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. That feels like a nice, and you're going to get a nice price. What'd you say, 300, or it was 3 to
plus
1?
330,
Yeah.
plus 330 on a 300-yard passing day. I mean, Notre Dame's defense is good
too,
but you wonder if they're on the field the whole game. Ohio State has by far, if you look at the teams Notre Dame have played, Penn State doesn't really have outside weapons, right? Tennessee, the receivers were the clear weakness of that team all year, and that and the O-line. I think this is going to be like, they have, how many guys can break it for a touchdown in this offense? I feel like there's 5 or 6 guys. So the explosive play is so much more in the cards here against Notre Dame than anyone they've played in the postseason.
All right, let's talk first touchdown. Kramer, what do you got? Who's your first touchdown?
So I think you can play this one of 2 ways. You can either take a couple of the Notre Dame receivers and say maybe they're going to take some crazy shot. I think they're all in like the 25 to 30 to 1 range, but that's not how it's going to play out. Notre Dame has not scored the first touchdown in their game only once in the playoff. I think I'm just going to be chalky. Last week I threw out a Riley Leonard and it almost came home. You look at the touchdown track records in general for these teams. I mean, Ohio State, the touchdowns are very, very concentrated. So even though the prices are not good to our NFL brain, Sean, I think that there is plenty of value in you picking one of these Ohio State guys. So I'm just leaning into the Ibuka angle. He had the longest price, plus 650 on the first touchdown. We were talking before, and I was gonna come to the table with 2, 1 for each team, but I'm just gonna go Ibuka. You're right. No need to take a Notre Dame guy. Although I will point out, Love has scored a touchdown in every game but 1 this year for Notre Dame. So
he did tweet out that he wanted Ohio State too before that Ohio State game.
So I'm not going to play his first touchdown, but it would be reckless for me to not let people know that someone who has scored a touchdown in every game but one time this year is going off at plus 125 on the anytime market.
For me, and yeah, I don't mind that. Colby, we always talk Notre Dame, the player stuff. Faison, 25 to 1. I think if Notre Dame does strike first, I think he's the guy. So I'll take a little sprinkle on him, and then Judkins. Judkins for me is the play. He's only 5 to 1 first touchdown, 5 to 1 for a reason. He's going to get his MVP candidacy started right. And I wish Madden was around. Just a guy, he would have a field day talking about a guy with a last name Judkins. That's just a running back that's got a great nose for the goal line. Give me Judkins first touchdown, 5 to 1. What about you, Colby?
The Faison play is interesting. I really am a fan of this guy, and I do think like if you're trying to figure out who could break it for Notre Dame, especially with Jeremiah Love not 100%, because your first thought would be Jeremiah Love, but I don't know that he's him at 70-80%. I just don't know if he could break a big one. I think it might be Faison, the way that they kind of move him all around. Sometimes he's coming out of the backfield. Sometimes, they do a lot of creative things with him. Maybe that would be one where if you're going to take the Irish, and I do think if the Irish are going to stay in this game, I think they got to score first and put pressure on Ohio State. But I don't think it's going to go like that. I think Ohio State's going to roll them. I think the play, and look, shout out to Damian in the chat, because that's what I was thinking. Will Howard has 7 rushing touchdowns on the season. Hard to account for. At Kansas State, he had a ton of rushing touchdowns. I think they get down to the 3-4 yard line. Will Howard rush, little quarterback draw on 3rd and 4, and you get your first score of the game on a Will Howard rushing touchdown. And like I said, that number is pretty darn good. I believe that is
19. 19
yeah.
to 1. And adding on to that, Notre Dame plays a lot of man, which traditionally is good for, whatever you turn, you follow the receiver, creates opportunities for a quarterback to run on. So that angle makes sense.
Yeah. I saw someone slid into the DMs and says, why wouldn't I take Howard and Riley Leonard, parlay them anytime touchdowns? My response was I'm very worried that Notre Dame isn't going to score a lot of touchdowns. And so
that's the concern there is if Riley Leonard, now I will say this, they haven't played many mobile quarterbacks. Ohio State hasn't. Remember, Alex Orji didn't play for Michigan in that game except for like one snap. So you go through it. The only mobile quarterback they've played was Dylan Gabriel, who I think in that first game had like 40 yards rushing or somewhere right around there.
Yeah. And he did have a touchdown too.
I like Riley Leonard, but he does have a little Quinn Ewers in him in terms of the naivete in the pocket sometimes, and that could be bad against Ohio State. That's all I got.
Shout out to Dick Puncher saying he just joined Go Blue. So Michigan fan, I'm assuming rooting against Ohio State, and I think he said he had some sort of Notre Dame connection there as well. Good times as always. Colby, any final thoughts? College football.
12-team playoff, much better than the 14 playoff because as you see, none of the top 4 seeds are here.
What is your? I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Are they going to make any changes to the playoff format, or is that the year after they do that?
I think it's the year after. I think they have this, it's forced upon. Now, I think they could technically do a vote, but why would you, if you're the ACC or the Group of 5 or the Big 12, why would you give up your vote for that 1 year, knowing that you can get the same format next year? So I'd be a little surprised at that. But you did see some big news today, and this is with revenue sharing coming in. Basically like a salary cap in a way. You got I think it's $21 million roughly. Penn State's 2 running backs and quarterback all coming back next year. So the money that would not have happened without revenue sharing and NIL. So I do think you're going to get more quality college football teams because these guys traditionally would be off in the NFL.
Well, also, I think
I don't know if Drew Aller. I don't know if the NFL is.
He'd be in the UFL. He'd be in the UFL.
But it is going to trickle up to the NFL. I do think you're going to get more guys playing more snaps and getting to the NFL in a better condition. So maybe more diamonds in the rough coming out of the draft. Less about the tools and the less Anthony Richardsons and maybe more Bo Nixes.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
I do think it helped college, when they upped the age and guys stayed around a little bit longer there. So,
well, also, isn't it official, Colby? 5 years? I thought I saw the NCAA was going to say 5 years is no longer going to be the exception. It's normal, right? You get 5 years
I believe I think that's happening right as we speak. I don't think it's actually official yet, but they're going to do that. So Cam Rising, I think, might have 2 more years left now. I mean, I don't even know. I know you talked about your Utah prediction, Sean. That was not a bad prediction by you. If he played.
Well, and let's tune in. Maybe he's already been listed questionable for week 1. So stay tuned. Good cliffhanger for next year. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the College Football Picks podcast. Very successful season. Appreciate everyone and the college experience. Make sure you check them out. Daily College Basketball Picks Pod over on their YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. And we're going to be getting our college basketball shows back up and running now that we got more time, more picks.
College baseball previews this Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Noah B.
Yeah.
Honestly, hopefully Noah's not watching. I don't want this to go to his head. But no one does college baseball better online coverage, gambling wise. And former college star himself, Noah B. So check out the college baseball experience as well. Kramer will be back. What are we going to do? Like a fantasy episode tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe we'll do a little doubleheader like we did last week. Couple short episodes, couple drafts, and maybe an FFPC divisional round.
Sounds good. And of course,
Sean,
Yes.
Sean, before you wrap up, you forgot also to congratulate the college experience.
Oh yes, 15,000 subscribers.
Oh, look at this.
Colby,
Colby
great
made this
work.
in Canva, I think. Look at this.
Great work on
Not true.
Canva.
Not true. I did not make that. But
I love how it covers your face.
yeah,
No,
we're
congrats. You guys are killing it.
I also I like how Noah threw in the multi-sport logo to try to act like baseball had something to do with it. Shout out to you and Mac grinding away.
Great
yeah.
And Noah. I'm just kidding, Noah. I know that would have been bad. Long DM incoming.
Yeah, I mean, look, we won't stop till we got a couple mil. I'll be happy then.
Love
Let's
this.
go.
Shout out to your graphic design team.
Doing great work. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. As always, smash that subscribe button. We'll be back with more football stuff coming up. Playoffs. Got a lot to break down. And of course, for the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Here's to the next 15,000.
Kramer. Let it ride.